ISIS may have gotten the message, as did Bashar al-Assad, that there's a new sheriff in town. What do you think? We're waiting for remarks from the Department of Defense or the president on that overnight. We don't have a lot right now. If it comes in the door, we'll bring it to you right here. Right now, let me welcome in my guest, Wayne Allyn Root. He is the author of Angry White Male, and of course, you see him on Fox News and his commentaries in newspapers around the country. Wayne, how are you?
Well, when they drop the biggest bomb of all time on top of ISIS's head, angry white males tend to get really happy. I'm kind of jumping for joy. We got a new sheriff in town, baby. The United States is number one again. It's like being at a football game and the Jets fly over. You feel proud to be an American, and this is one of those moments again. We got a great man as president, and he said he'd restore us to number one. He said he would not hold back with the military anymore. Look, you and I both know, Mark, that for 8 years under Obama, we did all kinds of things that sounded okay, but it was all a cover-up for the fact that Obama was dismantling the military. He kept saying, we're bombing ISIS. It turned out there were very few sorties. It was not enough. It was never going to do any real damage. It was like a giant cover-up. It was like that movie Wag the Dog. They were trying to make you believe that Obama was this great war leader in a battle with ISIS, yet they grew to epic proportions, and they won every battle under Obama. Why? Because he wasn't really stopping them. He was never doing anything. He was just making believe he was doing something. And now we got a guy willing to drop the mother of all bombs. Man, I love Donald Trump.
I just envisioned Donald Trump sitting in a room. Let's see, 59 cruise missiles weren't enough for you? Here, hold my beer.
I could picture him sitting in the room where they probably give you a up-close and personal camera that's, right above where the bomb's dropping, right on the plane, and they're showing what happens after the bomb drops in the, in the secret room with the head of the CIA and the head of national security and Trump and Pence, and I could just picture all of them cheering like the Dallas Cowboys just scored a touchdown and won the Super Bowl. This is great,
Yeah, I think about when we hit Syria, they had the Chinese premier there in Mar-a-Lago with him. There had to be some additional thought that if they dropped this bomb where they did, it might be heard as far away as Syria and North Korea.
It might be heard in China. It might be heard in Russia. I think it was heard everywhere. I think that we're setting the tone. Look, I made this argument in 1980. I was going to Columbia University. I was a freshman at Columbia University, and Ronald Reagan was running for president. And they picked me to represent Reagan in the campus-wide debates. And I won that debate big time. Believe it or not, they voted before the debate, and every person in the room was for Jimmy Carter. After the debate, they said, who won the debate? Not, are you changing your vote? Of course, those liberals would never change their vote. But almost every person in the room voted that I won the debate. And I'm telling you, I'm a pretty fair debater. And I would make the point today, it's the same as Reagan, that crazy is good. Reagan wasn't crazy. Trump isn't crazy. But if liberals want to believe they're crazy and they want to spread that rumor to the whole world, and the world, media, the global media, wants to tell all the people around the world we have a crazy man in leadership, that's not bad. That's good. The whole world is now on notice. There's a crazy man with his finger on the nuclear button, and there is no one that's going to screw with the United States for the next 8 years of President Donald Trump. And believe me when I tell you, it probably got solidified today. Between the missiles aimed at Syria and the world's biggest bomb dropped on ISIS, I think Trump is a shoo-in for re-election. We got him for 8 years, and liberals are going to be sick to their stomach for 8 years. Because this guy wins and wins and wins again. What did he say during the campaign? We're going to win so much, you're going to get sick of winning.
On the Russian scandal story, I got a little chill running down my leg this week when I heard one of the mainstream news reporters, Margaret Brennan from CBS, say this line coming out of one of her stories. Listen.
It's extraordinary to think that just a few weeks ago, the concern was that the Trump administration was too friendly with Russia.
So they seem to finally be getting the message maybe that they were deceived, or they helped with the Democrats' talking points to deceive the American people into this collusion story.
Well, there's another Donald Trump, attribute and talking point. Donald Trump said at various times, he hinted that his whole strategy in life is you never know what he's going to do. And so you can never trust exactly what he's saying. Now, liberals made that, oh, my God, that means he's a liar. You can't trust what he's saying. I made it as, he's a smart businessman. When he tells you I'm on your side, it turns out he's putting you out of business. When he tells you he's putting you out of business, he's actually angling to buy your company and become your partner. That's a brilliant businessman. You never know what he's doing. And here's a guy that cozied up to Putin, not to fix the election. That's ridiculous. ridiculous. But rather, he cozied up to Putin because he wanted Putin to believe he was a buddy. And in reality, he's America first at all times. He's never going to be Putin's best friend. He's never going to be Russia's best friend. He's America first, and whatever is in America's best interest is what we'll do. And by the way, I've argued that, I don't want a world war with Russia. I want to avoid it. And peace comes through strength. If Russia really believes that Trump's just a little bit unconventional, a little bit crazy, and a little bit kind of spur-of-the-moment guy, and he'll drop a bomb on you the size of Montana, they're going to be very careful how they treat us.
Well, the Iranians believed that when Ronald Reagan became president, didn't they?
Right.
They released the hostages immediately because they weren't sure he would do it.
There were no wars when Reagan was president. We had Grenada.
Yeah.
We did have the one horrible attack of the Marines in Lebanon. I remember it well. But that was the only time anybody did anything to America in 8 years. And those were both minor. God forbid, those poor Marines' parents. I don't mean anything bad. If it's your child, it's not minor. It's major. I get it.
Right.
But in the scheme of things, there were no world wars. There were no major confrontations. The whole world was afraid of Ronald Reagan, although the event in Lebanon with the Marines was an indication many years ahead of time of the crazy enemy we deal with radical Islam. That was like the first taste of what we would feel 30 years later with ISIS and the Taliban and Al-Qaeda and all the above. They are crazy people. There's no question about it.
Yeah, that's true. What's your take on the Susan Rice story?
Well, here's my take. I'm the first guy in the country who's been writing about this stuff. I get good gun instincts. I never wrote about Susan Rice. I wrote about Ben Rhodes. I've written so many articles and sent personal notes to Donald Trump and Jared Kushner, letting them know that there's a terrible person from the Obama administration who's now in a position, Obama in his last 3 days named Ben Rhodes to the commission, what's it called, the Holocaust Memorial Council, which is the most sacred pro-Jewish council in America, commission in America overseeing the National Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. And ergo, it was a giant middle finger by Obama to the Jewish people and the people of Israel. And I told him that. I said, you've got to fire this guy. There'll be precedent. No one's ever fired a member of this commission before. They just let them expire. No one ever says you're fired. But Donald never cares about, tradition. He fires people.
Right.
You've got to fire him. And I said, the reason why is he's a very bad guy. He was Obama's dirty tricks guy. He was the guy in the middle of the Iran deal. He was the guy in the middle of the UN censure of Israel. He was the guy in the middle of the Cuba deal. He's a very bad guy, Ben Rhodes. And I said, he's going to undermine your administration. I believe Obama put him in that key role while you're in office just to be the guy who leaks sensitive information to the press about Trump's people. And sure enough, what did Fox News say a few days later after I sent that personal note to the president? That Ben Rhodes was the leaker who ruined General Mike Flynn. Now we find out that Susan Rice is the unmasker who then took the information of the people that were surveilled. So Trump was right. We were spied on. Trump was spied on. His people were spied on. I think everyone's being spied on by the NSA. And she unmasked their names and then handed them to her deputy. Guess who her deputy was? Ben Rhodes.
Ben Rhodes, right.
That's who is the Deputy National Security Advisor, Ben Rhodes. And when they talk about Steve Bannon shouldn't have been on the National Security Council, when liberals say that because he has no background in national security, do you realize Ben Rhodes was a college kid who became a volunteer for Obama, who caught Obama's eye, and Obama made him a junior speechwriter, then he became the senior speechwriter, then Obama named him Deputy National Security Advisor.
Good Lord.
What does a kid who becomes a speechwriter have to do with national security? Nothing.
Nothing.
So this is a dangerous guy, and I'm telling you, Susan Rice is not the brains of this operation. Ben Rhodes is the brains. And do you know who Ben Rhodes' brother is?
Oh, he's a network news
president
official.
of CBS Television.
Yeah.
These are bad people. I'm telling you, this is why the media is bad. This is why Obama's people are bad. Obama's running a shadow government, steps away from the White House, trying to take down kind of a soft coup against Donald Trump. And his man running it, or the people running it, would be Valerie Jarrett, Susan Rice, and Ben Rhodes.
That's
bad
it.
people. Remember those names. Wayne Root gave it to you.
Wayne Allyn Root, thank you very much. I remind people the book is Angry White Male, still available, I'm sure, at Amazon and all those great booksellers. Thank you,
It
sir.
is, and you can go to USA Radio and see my new national radio show, by the way, every evening, 6 to 9 p.m. East Coast time on USA Radio, nationally syndicated. War Now, the Wayne Allyn Root Show. Go to USA Radio and find out where you get it.
Congratulations.
Thanks Mark.
All right,
God bless.
see you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Didn't know that. So he's nationally syndicated. Good for him. He's got to channel that energy somewhere. That's a good thing. I love having Wayne Allyn Root on. He cuts straight to the bone, doesn't he? That is excellent. Excellent. Good information, too. All right.